Turn it on. Yes, I have a new intro. That's because the other one has YouTube down my throat about using the music. If you know, you know. But if you don't know, it's Mala. So, with Death Battle in the works for Kratos vs. Ashura, I thought I might make these types of videos. Essays about random shit I like to talk about. Today is Criticism! Boy, this is gonna be fun. After all, everyone likes criticisms, right? This video hasn't even begun, and I can tell this is probably gonna be long, at least compared to what I'm used to doing. This isn't gonna fuck with my audience's heads at all, especially with the ones who probably came to my channel for versus content. Oh well, it is my channel after all, and hey, I hope you love it regardless. Timestamps below if you want. With that out of the way, let's talk criticisms. First thing I need to get out of the way before we begin is, what even is criticism? It's negativity, and no one loves negativity. We want positivity!
Get to your attention.
Get to go what? Where did he come from? Anyways, criticism is defined as the expression of disapproval of someone or something on the basis of perceived faults or mistakes, and the analysis and judgment of the merits and faults of a literary or artistic work. This is essentially negative critique, criticizing the negatives of a person or work. And yes, while positive criticism is a thing, it's essentially just negative criticism, but basically the opposite. As the old saying goes, it takes two to tango. Both negative and positive critique work together to help improve the person. No matter how harsh they can be, if they can present their criticism in a way that points out both negative and positives of your work, it can help you improve. So let's say I do a versus edit, and one of the negative critiques I might get would probably be the intro and ending dragged out too long, not much is happening that ends up being a bore to sit through, the music is low energy, the transitions aren't that great, and my clip matching skills leaves much to be desired. One of the positive critiques I might get would be the criterias used are well thought out, and the voice clips are a nice touch. From that, I can improve and create work like this.
7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you.
Think I haven't planned for this?
You're merely postponing the inevitable.
Should I be concerned? Yet another wannabe bat killer.
Here I am offering you my precious time, and you waste it by running around.
We'll see.
I can't lose, not to you!
You're going back to prison.
Criticism at the end of the day is merely meant to help and improve a person or a piece of work. Hell, that's why movie critics exist. That's why game reviews exist. That's why critics exist, period.
You're goddamn right.
But it's not like you could just say some big boy words and boom, you got your critique. Criticism requires a structure. Yes, believe it or not, the thing that will make or break a critique is in fact
Presentation!
However, I'm not just going to give out the structure. I will also have good examples and bad examples in each segment. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to not just ramble on about a subject like this. Criticism is important for growth, and I would have been doing the subject dirty by not showing you how it's done. There's quite a few to go through, so let's get into it. I think this is the most obvious one, and I won't dwell on it for too long, but if you're gonna make a video criticizing anyone or anything, you should have your voice clear. Again, very self-explanatory, but it is a common mistake I see when it comes to these videos. Hell, I'm guilty of it myself. The solution is pretty simple. Scripting. Scripting what you want to say in any video can help clear up your thoughts. It's not a perfect solution and it may not help everyone, but to show you how much this can help in the long run, let's compare two YouTubers, Fiction Rumble and Mangakamen. Rumble shouldn't be a new face on this channel if you follow my content, but not only did he admit to not scripting his videos on the record, mind you.
I would just go on stuff on top of my head and stuff. Because, I don't know you guys, but every time I make these random videos like this, I always go on top of my head instead of just writing it down.
It shows in his videos. The problem with giving criticism in this way is, well, it's disjointed, it's rambly, it goes nowhere. Like, your criticism at the end of the day needs to have some sort of structure. Otherwise, it will fall apart when someone decides to, you know, pay attention.
Since Death Battle has published Goku vs. Superman 3 11 months ago, I still see so many fanboys for both characters still. Excuse me. Just gotta get comfortable, guys. Anyway, like I was saying, when that fight came out, I still see people still warning each other in the comments and Twitter to this day, still complaining about, you know, oh, Goku should have run. No, Superman will always be the victor. Blah 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 blah.
In contrast, Mangakamen, who if you don't know makes videos on varieties of different media, from web series to video games to shows to movies to anime to tokusatsu, though he was a commentator at one point, I bring him up because he's actually better at making his criticisms clear and concise, and actually goes somewhere with it rather than just mindless word salad.
This isn't the first time we've had a similar situation like this happen, even in Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider Kiva had the titular rider be a crossbreed between humans and the vampire-esque monsters, the Vanguard, and he too was being hunted, and he too was seen as a monster by the other protagonists.
But it's not just the stuttering and stammering that can fuck up your criticism. If you like background music in your videos, that's absolutely fine, that's absolutely cool. You can have that. Hell, I'm guilty of it myself. However, if you do that, then make sure it's not overpowering your speech. Otherwise, no one will know what the fuck you're saying. Especially if you're the type to not speak up. Like CommentJack's videos on Hardcore Kid, where he had this gem of a section.
It made it seem like just having it there is automatically bad. Not only that, but Indiana Jones and Top Cat have way different formats. Top Cat is a comedy, not a pure action adventure like Indiana Jones. You might want to compare Top Cat to shows like Animaniacs and Johnny Bravo. Would an Animaniacs short about cell phones and Donald Trump be automatically bad? No, it wouldn't. You. Because it's impossible to be modern and keep the charm of the original show, right?
Don't have your music overpower your speech if you choose to put it in, otherwise you'd get this garbage. One more thing before I have to move on.
Voice filters.
Look, it's okay if you want to use a voice filter, there's no shame in it. You're not gonna get arrested for it either. But if you're going to have a voice filter, make sure it's not muffling your voice. Example? Look at someone like Doodletones, aka Susie. She's known to have a pitched up voice filter. However, she actually knows how to speak up and not mumble her words so that the filter is not muffling it. Want proof? Here she is without the filter.
Oh my god, my first criticism towards Jar wasn't the voice, it was how he went about delivering his lines.
And here she is with the filter.
God damn it. How is that any more relevant than when T-Moss brings up Social Blade scores?
Again, this boils down to just make yourself sound clear, which I know it's a lot of effort, but believe me, it's worth it for your criticism to be understood.
That's a nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Okay, sounding clear, yeah, it's important, but it's a given at the end of the day. Plus, it's basically a requirement for anything involving, well, talking.
And still you talk.
But this one? This is perhaps the most important requirements for giving out criticism of any kind. Know what you're talking about. You can be the most clear person on this planet, but if what you're talking about amounts to complete and utter rubbish, don't be surprised if people are like, you know what's bullshit? Not to mention, on top of being unable to be taken seriously, people are going to question if you even know the subject you're talking about, and not just pulling shit out of your ass. It's the reason why a common rebuttal to criticisms would be something like, did you even watch the show? Did you even see the movie? Did you even play the game? Do you even know the person you're talking about? It's essentially asking if you're familiar with the media or person you're talking about. Plus, it's just worth it to put effort to knowing what you're talking about, so you don't pull shit like this.
The current bandwagon is the whole race swapping thing they love to do with animated characters. April O'Neil, Timmy Turner, Velma, etc.
Let's watch my favorite part again, shall we?
April O'Neil, Timmy Turner, Velma, etc. Timmy Turner.
This is Ask Air, who, if you don't know, put out an infamous video talking about modern reboots of cartoon, and utterly failed at critiquing them, as the video can be best described as what the cartoon community was around 2016, I think. Several points in his video just felt like him jerking off to older cartoons and not giving reboots a fair shake.
Let's give it bright, saturated animation to the point where kids get a corneal ulcer. Why not? Kids like colors, right? I feel like everything I'm saying only relates to reboots post-2010, because prior to that, most reiterations weren't like this. Most were better than the originals, and actually kept gritty tones with cool brooding art styles.
How insulting!
Not to mention his assumptions on Steven Hillenburg.
Starting off with the fact that the original creators don't want this kind of stuff, almost ever. We've all heard of how Steven Hillenburg never really wanted a reboot of SpongeBob, but ever since his late passing, Nick has capitalized on 2 already, with both thankfully pulling in little to no rating.
Which I'll leave out cause, well, I couldn't find shit, so if you want to talk about it in the comments, go ahead. Or heck, even make your own video. But finally, this shit.
The current bandwagon is the whole race swapping thing they love to do with animated characters. April O'Neil, Timmy Turner, Velma, etc.
Yeah, this video was built on the fact that Fairly Odd Parents had a new reboot called A New Wish. Even though if this guy did any kind of research, he'd know A New Wish is a continuation of the show, not a reboot. But then again, he showed Batman Beyond as an example of a better reboot while ignoring that it's a continuation of the Batman animated show.
I feel like everything I'm saying only relates to reboots post-2010, because prior to that, most reiterations weren't like this.
But most of all, Hazel isn't a race swap character of Timmy Turner. She's her own character, so...
What was his name? Tooby, trombone, trebuchet.
Oh, and this gem.
Everything is racial, that's the only thing I can see when watching. I never saw Blade as a black character, or Cyborg, or Gerald as Static Shock. A lot of my favorite characters are people of various ethnicities and racial tones.
Even though Static Shock had an episode where Virgil wished there was a black superhero for him to look up to.
Yeah, a black superhero. I don't know. It validates me somehow.
Heroes come in every color, my friend.
I know. It's just that sometimes I wish there was a black superhero back home for folks to look up to.
Oh, but there is. And he is my hero too.
Teen Titans 2003 had an episode where Starfire told Cyborg of the discrimination her kind face, and Cyborg literally admitting he faced similar discrimination from being part robot, but I'm pretty sure him being black also played a part with it, given the implications.
You know what it feels like to be judged simply because of how you look?
Of course I do. I'm part robot,
Oh, and don't think I didn't see you slipping Uncle Ruckus in there. You know, the most racist Boondocks character, who in the first episode was literally denying the Freeman family an entrance to some rich guy's mansion because they're, well, black.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Security. We got a code black. Code black at the main gate.
Ruckus, what the hell is a code black?
I know Air isn't the worst example of this, but he's perhaps the best example of what I'm talking about. Criticism like this is built on ignorance, which is just a nice way of saying,
"You stupid."
In contrast, Nemesis Bloodryche,
"I'm going to piss off all the people now,"
is a good example of the opposite. Where Air practically talks out of his ass, Nemesis actually knows what he's saying. He shows what he's talking about, but more importantly, he elaborates. This makes Nemesis a lot more understandable with his criticism, rather than rainbow cartoons are all bad. Prove me wrong. Nostalgia for the win.
I don't know the season or what is the reason I'm...
Take this video from Nemesis, where he compares two similar arcs from different shows. One is an arc from Ruby, which is a Rooster Teeth original show, you know, the company that got fucked over by Warner Bros. And the other arc is from Garo the Carved Seal of Flames, the 2014 anime adaptation of the 2005 Tokusatsu show. To give a brief summary of both of these arcs, the Ruby character Yang goes through PTSD after having her arm sliced clean off by this character named Adam. In Carved Seal the Flames, the character Leon goes through depression after his armor was taken from him for ravaging a village in anger when he saw his dying mother right in front of him. Both are similar arcs, but Nemesis describes why he likes Leon's arc over Yang's. From the fact Leon had a longer period time to get over his depression, he's exposed to new environments, the progression of time is shown and it actually feels natural, and Leon does things he would never have done if before this arc. Yes, he does say why Yang's arc is offensive to PTSD victims, as it's played off as easy to get through despite it not being that at all. I don't know, maybe it's because Ruby's ran by fanfic writers.
You take that back!
More importantly, however, Nemesis explains himself and elaborates on why he believes Yang's arc is worse than Leon's. Revolutionary, I know. So, TLDR, know what you're talking about and elaborate on what you're talking about if you want to avoid talking out of your ass. Believe me, the last thing you want to do when giving out criticism is giving someone E. coli.
You little green shits are the bane of my existence. So if I die too, so be it!
Despite positive criticism being a thing, criticism on its own is inherently negative. But it is a good thing. As I stated before, criticism is used for pointing out negatives, but it's through acknowledging these negatives of our work do we use them to forge something better, to become a better person, to become a better version of ourselves.
Nailed it, I know, thank you, moving on.
But that's only assuming the criticism is in good faith. What do I mean by that? Not everyone give criticisms because they genuinely want to see that someone or something to be better, like Nemesis Bloodryche in the last segment. Hell, Air, for as stupid as he was with his video, I can at least say he had his heart in the right place. For this, let's rewind to 2018 and talk about the animation storytime community, or whatever they're called. These people make videos wrapped around their personal lives, told in their animated artwork. The type of videos I'm talking about are those who take the ire of the odd ones out in Jaden animation. I'm sure some of you watching are familiar with these types of YouTubers and probably know what I'm about to bring up, but if you don't, TLDR, these people were under fire and was covered by multiple people, collectively called the Animated Storytime Critics, with less than savory critiques.
Wait, could Jaden be bipolar? I can't prove this, of course, but we'll just put it in the things I think Jaden might be.
This is where I finally bring up bad faith criticisms. These criticisms are not done with honesty. They were never meant to improve the person mentioned, and most of all, it's usually done out of a hidden agenda. That's what bad faith means in both definitions, intending to deceive and refusing to face facts or choices. In fact, there's actually a good video done on this subject by Quinn Curio. I recommend it. But the long and short of it is the Storytime critics repeat the fact they, and I quote, don't know how to animate, or don't do animation.
And I mean that literally, she does not animate.
Make wild accusations with little to no evidence.
I am sorry that I have minimal evidence to support most of this, because since most of this is word of mouth.
Hell, in some cases, they outright lie.
Katsune is not the best at giving hope to whom are in the closet. Talking about her own coming out story experience without giving people who struggle with this any help.
And if I can make just one kid out there feel less alone, then my job is done.
And fuck, they were even compared to a cult.
Here has watched Hot Fuzz. I compare the animation community to Sanford, the sort of place that works so hard to keep a lovely image that it requires questionable action sometimes to preserve it, and they can feel the pressure, and the harder they try to defend it, the more I feel they have something to hide, and the more the cracks begin to show.
If you guys want more info, I'll let you research yourself about this debacle that went down in 2018. Plenty of it, but my point is, I think these guys are a good example of bad faith criticism, because at that point it was all about drama instead of actually seeing people improve. The fact that they resorted to baseless accusations, repeating the same points that really are just opinions and not fact. Actually, looking at the whole situation, I do feel like it's a case of people just taking a jab at a community because it's a trend. Easy money, easy intention, you know?
Better than I thought! Jackpot!
As for labeling these videos as criticisms, well, I think it has something to do with these people mostly being commentary people, which might explain why something similar happened to the slideshow commentary community. A community of nerds that talk about whatever nerd shit they can, which is the type of content I live for. The anti-slideshow commentary community did something similar when the slideshow commentators started growing in popularity, with the exact same tactics, no less, as the animated storytime critics.
How far does this conspiracy go?
If it's not because it's a trend, it's probably that ego speaking, you know? A little too prideful in their craft, you see. Look, I'm not about to talk shit about the commentary community, but they can be more prone to drama, which is why they're more likely to be heard than those posting nerd culture shit. So I think this is their pride talking.
Do you really believe your own hype that much?
I am the hype!
And that is the sin of pride.
Because, you know, they're more likely to be known on the internet over someone like Mangakamen, who writes essays on nerd shit like video games, movies, and web series. I mean, he kind of was known for covering some dramas in his past, but that's neither here nor there. A lot of reasons why people would give bad faith criticisms, you know?
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Even something as simple as having a grudge. I mean, it's the internet, so...
This is our future. This is the way the world ends.
I bring this up to tell you, if you ever receive criticism, don't take every single one of them at face value. The only criticisms that can help you are the ones that can help iron out your imperfections to become the best version of yourself. If you're wondering how you can do that, just stop, take an honest look at yourself and your work, and see what you can work with. At that point, it would probably come down to the individual's personality, but you know, I do trust my audience enough to assess who they are.
Time for the climactic finale!
And that's the conclusion to my... what should I call this series? White essays? Sure, why not? For the new year, I'll see if I can make more of these essay vids from this channel. I know it's not my usual content, but it does give me a chance to talk. A lot. And hey, if you want more of these videos, let me know. Bonus if you can give me some topics to write these essay videos. They're like mini videos, sure, but mini essay videos. But hey, I am a solo man after all. I record all my vids, I edit all my vids. I'm a one-man crew. Anyways, that concludes my video. Hope to see you all later. Have a good New Year's. Welcome 2025.